I've worked with about 1,000 people now, just through helping them kind of build the business I built. And every day is awesome. I don't know. I can't sleep because now it's at the point where it's just like, what do we want to create?
I am so honored because I have Chris back. It's been almost 2 years since you've been on, but thank you so much for coming back. It's always a pleasure to have you. And I just want to know, what have you been up to these last 2 years?
First off, thank you for having me. I can't believe it's been 2 years. That's crazy how like fast time has been flying. I've been all over the place, everything from traveling around the US in an RV and kind of like working from the road for a couple months at a time to just working on just different campaigns. We got some cool clients. We're working with farming companies and hotel companies and tourism boards. And then on top of that, we're still doing coaching. And that community has just only continued to grow. I've worked with about 1,000 people now, just through helping them kind of build the business I built. And every day is awesome. I don't know. Like I can't sleep because now it's at the point where it's just like, what do we want to create?
I love that. I love the space you're in as well. And it's interesting because I was rewatching our episode from 2 years ago. I was like, oh wow, like so much has shifted. And you were in a transition when we had originally spoke.
I'm stepping out of the CEO role of DNC Media to focus full time on the content strategist mastermind now, which is the coaching program where I teach everyone, hey, I've just spent the last 5, 6 years building a business, building the systems, learning how to do everything. Here's my contract. Here's my proposals. Here's how you work with this client. Don't know how to build that ad campaign? Great. We have 5 hours of one-on-one calls every week where you can jump on. We build the campaigns with you. We can help close deals with you. Like I'm trying to help everyone that was me 5 years ago avoid the first 3 years of going in circles and trying to figure stuff out.
And now I'm curious because when you had switched into like content strategist mastermind and you were coaching and you said you've helped now over 1,000 individuals really build their business with the systems in place, whether it was templates and just really helping them build those campaigns. What was that transition like when you started coaching till now?
The transition was overwhelming, one, because most people, when they jump into coaching, that's what they do full time. I was still running my agency and still scaling my agency. There's so many fake gurus out there, if you will, to where I was like, I'm not going to be the one who, once it gets hard, drops the agency just to do coaching because that's easier. Because then who is actually teaching people how to get past that point? I started struggling to find those mentors that did reach that higher level. So I was like, screw it. We're going to do it all, even if it kills me. So luckily it didn't kill me. There were a lot of hardships, I think, when you start coaching because you want everyone to succeed. You want to see their success. Like there's certain people I wanted to be in the mastermind, but they didn't have the money to invest basically. And it was just like, what if I just give you the money, man? But like, it kind of defeats the purpose because then they don't take it as seriously. So there was a mix of emotions just between like being so busy with everything to all the energy because we got like 30 members right away. And then it was like the stress of, oh man, like now we got to figure all this out and keep training and keep building. And how do we just keep making this better? So we did that for about 2 years. Now I'm in the next transition actually, where my goal is more bringing in the people like me to help run the mastermind. Because once again, I realize I can only do so much as an individual, but we as a collective can help a lot more people. And now it's not just videographers and photographers and, content creators, but business owners and marketing departments that just need someone to oversee ad campaigns or funnels or the way the tech moves, it just goes so fast. And the people that learn it, like we don't need to work for corporate companies. Like we can just go make money other ways online. So there's just a big need out there. And that's, I guess, where my passion drives from is just like every day I wake up, everyone I think just needs help with it. So we got to do it. We got to make it happen.
Well, I'm glad you're out there doing it. And I love that I catch you in those transition periods. because it's so cool to see what evolves after you have made that transition. And I think it's a really good point that you brought up about coaching, because you want to see people succeed. Like I coached for years and therapy and all that stuff, and you really want them to succeed, but people have to want to, or they need the funds to do so. Like we can't just give. Of course, we want to sometimes, but we have to hold back on certain aspects because that's how we learn and that's how we find the money or figure it out, whatever it is, if it really makes sense to us. But I think you're right. It's you can only do so much as one human being. So being able to really spread yourself so thin can burn you out. But being able to
Yes.
bring on other people that are similar to you or maybe a step behind and can help these people in the mastermind to continue to grow and evolve. And I think everybody needs ads and campaigns and just make things seamless. We were talking about it before we were filming of just like having things systemized and operating in a way that just like makes sense, because I was one of those people when I started, I was like, oh, I don't have any systems in place. I was like, I'll just figure it out as I go. And
Yep.
it bit me in the ass. So
Yep.
I definitely agree systems are important. And with these 2 years and how much you have expanded, you were all over the world. Basically, every time I looked at your social media, you were in some other country, not even in the US, outside of the RV. But what is maybe a lesson or two that you've learned in these 2 years?
I would say like my biggest lesson and kind of like philosophy right now is speed doesn't matter as much as you think. Like in the beginning, all you want to do is like hit your first 100 grand, and then like nothing changes. And then like it was like, oh, well, let's hit 500, and then nothing really changed. Then we hit $1 million in sales and nothing changed. So for me now, it's like I kind of look at it like I got really lucky and got to do all these insane, amazing things. And even just like being on a cruise in Antarctica, talking to guests that have saved and worked their entire life to do this trip. And they're like, this is your job? Like you're here and you're getting paid? And I'm like, I realized how fortunate I was. So now for me, it's more about helping my team and helping the other people within the community. Going back to the problem of like not everyone being able to join, and an investment is required. You're building a business. I got to hire VAs to help us support and salespeople to help handle all the inquiries. And then we're building training and whatever. So what we're doing now is I've actually created what I call the School of Savages. So we're
I love
using School, the platform online, and it's completely free, where we're putting out a lot of this info up front. The goal is come learn, come see what we're doing, come see how other people who were accountants are now helping people with content creation, or who worked for NASA are now making social media reels for clients and having fun doing it. So all of that's free. And then obviously there's other programs people could join, one-on-one coaching, up-level mastermind retreats. And then the big thing I'm working on is a creator cruise. So going back to like, it's fun to do it, but it's kind of lonely and boring doing it by yourself. Like the reason I love making videos was to take people with me on those adventures and to show them some of those things that I got to experience. Now I physically want to be taking people with me, doing workshops, teaching how to shoot. So we're trying to like partner with a couple different cruise lines to get like, I don't know, the creator festival of Content Savage. Oh yeah, let's go.
I love that. Oh my God, that's so important. Just kind of thinking of like what could happen from that and what will happen. But what even got you to that point where like you were like, I want to create these groups? Like you were experiencing it, you were bringing people on that journey with you. But what were those steps you took to make that happen?
The world lacks connection. We're moving into a more and more digital space. The workforce is changing. It's harder to make friends as you get older and you're not in an office and there's not these same social gatherings. People don't understand online communities yet that well. My first online community was in 2017 that I joined. So like way before people were even thinking about like this remote work from anywhere lifestyle, I was like all in on these online worlds, and people were like, Ceebz, you're a psycho. This isn't going to happen. You're not going to get paid to travel. I'm sorry. This is not going to happen. So between that and then like on the one-on-ones I do, where I'm just like, go get with your friends this weekend. Dude, I don't have any. Like you guys are my community. This is everything to me. So realizing how connection in the real world is suffering so much, how the younger generation literally only thinks about things in line, like You
Yeah.
have to DM someone. I'm like, pick up the phone, call someone, speak to a human. Like, not everything needs to be through a DM or like a meme or something, you know? So there's just all these things that I feel people need to learn, and I've learned them the hard way just through trial and error. And like, I've probably invested well over 6 figures into coaching and personal development and mindset retreats and like anything and everything I can do to like reframe this crazy subconscious of mine.
Yeah.
So I just see it as my way to help people, bring people together. And like, if I can just be a professional hype guy, like at the end of the day, I'm a professional bronzer. You know this. Look,
Yes.
like the video, the agency, coaching, these are all side hustles. I'm really just trying to get to the super bronzer status to where, you know, we just kick back, relax, and enjoy the sunshine every day. So that's why I lock myself in the darkness.
No, I totally get it. I love that because I remember us talking about that beforehand too. But it's so funny how, like, you're so spot on about that connection piece because I think people do crave that. Like, same as you, 2017 is when I started joining the entrepreneurial world and was
Yeah,
all
that's how
about
we
like,
connected.
yeah, exactly. So I think it's just being able to be in the same room as people that are maybe doing similar things but in a different way, but just have that same mindset of like building that connection and community. I know that's so important to me. And I feel like more people are bringing things from online to in person. Like, just even here in Denver, I've seen a lot more of that. And I think it's just important because it is a very lonely journey. And how can we continue to hype each other up? Like, I want to be a hype girl. Like, I love that idea.
Yeah.
I'm like, can I do that? There's a book
Yes.
called Hanging Out for a Living. I was like, that's what I want to do. Somebody had suggested it. I was like, oh, that's such a great idea, because I think it's just being able to really connect with people. And that's how we even build businesses, is relationship building. I was just having this
Yeah.
conversation recently about, and the fundamental piece of a business is those relationships, the connections you make, and it's the human aspect, because I feel like everything has been digitalized in so
Yep.
many ways, and the younger generations are not really exposed to that or don't have that same upbringing that we had and generations prior. But I think it's slowly bringing these creator groups together and being able to
Hmm.
continue to amplify that, because I think it's contagious when you start seeing other people do it. You're like, oh, I want to do that too. And so with
Yes.
these creator groups, have you already started? Where are you at in that process?
I typically do about 2 live events a year, which is a couple days. We'll get 20, 30 people together in like a bunch of cabins or something. Part workshop, part like we help build their business, part we create content. And then I do other just small, like little workshops around South Florida. So I'm trying to get a reoccurring monthly just meetup for all creatives here. One, just to connect the community and make that happen. And then still just trying to do live events, trying to do, you know, like every time I go out to the Everglades, I get 15 DMs like, please take me with you. I'm like, there's a lot of liability when 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 there's alligators everywhere. So like, but maybe we can do a workshop and you can sign this waiver and we'll get the official like whatever. So that's what I'm just trying to do more of. It's like I love monetizing my passion, I guess you would say. So what, like right now I'm obsessed with video. I'm obsessed with like I'm kind of building a software for all of this stuff and using AI to edit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm building Ceebz bot. So I'm using all my trainings, all my call recordings, everything gets categorized and put into a database for an AI version of me. So I ideally don't need to keep showing up and answering the same questions day in and day out online. These are the fun things I like to do and why I continue to just keep going deep. And the other reason I'm so passionate about building the community and like having other thought leaders, I guess, in there helping train and teach is because there's so much misinformation out there. Like people are not paying their mortgages because of advice on TikTok, and then their houses are getting foreclosed on. Like there's so much misinformation out there, and there's so many people that believe you don't need to work to achieve success. And to me, it's like you got to put in the work, you got to put in the consistency, you got to surround yourself with the right people. And it's all a formula. Like I've never considered myself the smartest person in the room. I never did well on SATs. My brother was the one getting 1600s. I was like a 900 maybe. But what I've learned is none of that matters. I'm doing the same exact thing that I was doing 8 years ago when we first started. And I was just obsessing over how to make better videos and help people. That's all I continue to do day in and day out, is just show up, try to figure those things out, and long term, it pays off.
It does. And you're right. There is a lot of misinformation out there. So it's important, like whoever you're following or listening to, that you do your own research as well. It's great to have those tips and things that we've learned along the journey, but every situation is going to look a little bit different. We don't have all the facts of your life in order to give you all the right information. And even then, it's up to us to put in the work day in, day out.
Yeah.
Success is not overnight. It's a 10-year overnight process essentially, but being able to understand that. And I think it's just amazing that you've been able to follow your passion. And I know you've worked so hard from where you were when you started to where you are today is just a complete encompassing aspect of what you've been able to endure, and never giving up either. Even when it got hard, even when there was things stacked against you, you still persevered and made it happen. And now you're helping so many more people, over 1,000 people, just in the coaching aspect, but even all the brands and individuals that you've worked with video, with systems, with everything that you're putting in place to make it a little bit easier for everybody, because it doesn't have to be so hard, right?
And I like to think of it as like 1,000 people have helped me, not the other way around.
Yeah.
They're just helping me get my systems more dialed.
Oh, yeah, I like that reframe.
Repetition.
Yeah, no, it is because every person can teach you something. Like I feel like I'm constantly learning. I've interviewed over 250
Yeah.
people at this point, and I'm always learning something new that I'm like, oh, I didn't think of it like that, or oh, that's interesting. But that's how it is. We're lifelong learners, and I think that's a huge point of being an entrepreneur, but being a human being first and foremost. Just allowing that. If we allow it, we have no idea what surprises can be around the corner, basically.
For
But
sure.
anyways, Chris, I just want to know, where can people find you, find your services, everything you're up to, your creator group? We'll link everything below, but if you could let us know too.
Absolutely. So on social, I am Ceebz Gerard everywhere. Ceebz Gerard, Gerard. YouTube, there's a ton of like crazy travel videos. There's a lot around just live streams and other educational stuff. And then if you want to jump in the Savage School community, go check us out. It's school.com, and you can look up Content Savage Squad. So check out the Content Savage Squad on School. Join that group. It's free. Introduce yourself. Put yourself on the member map. We got people in New Zealand. We got people in Poland. We got people in the UK. So come join the party. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you again, Chris, for just spending some time with us, catching up. It's always such a pleasure to have you, and just everything you're doing to make the world a little bit brighter and sunnier too.
Let's go. Savage Nation, baby. We taking over.
I feel it. I feel it. Well, make sure to like, subscribe, comment below. What was the biggest takeaway from Chris today? I'm sure he would love to see that comment, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See y'all.